This Jeep has a few miles on it now, and since it's a manual, the shifter knob is a little worn out. In this video, we're going to replace a few parts for that shifter, and hopefully by the end, it'll have more of a rock-solid feel. Let's get into it. Here's what we're working with today. The shifter knob is a little loose. The boot has already collapsed down into the transmission tunnel. This cover isn't even attached anymore. And we're going to start by cleaning up all this dirt here so that we're working with a clean area. I'm going to start with some interior detailer. There we go. There's no threads on this, you just kind of have to pull it off of this lip here. And in order to do that, you just rotate it back and forth as you're pulling up on it. It doesn't feel right, but that's what you got to do, and you definitely have to pull pretty hard on it to get it to go this way. There's the boot. Now if this was still attached, you'd still have to pry these parts apart, but I still have to pop this thing off. There we go. Clean this real quick since I didn't get that the first time. The old bezel and the new bezel, they do look the same either way they go around, but you will need to take note of the orientation of this. This is the bottom of the bezel, and this faces towards the front of the car, and this is towards the back of the car. Remember, these are the pins that you had to remove from the back of it, and then it pivots out this way. It looks like these come melted together anyway, so you're going to have to drill this out either way, if this is broken when you get it or not. I'm going to start with drilling these out. I'm also going to clean the rubber on this boot after that step. The bezel comes with the new hardware that you need to bolt it and this rubber boot to the old plastic piece. I don't need the threads to thread into this plastic because it also comes with nuts that will thread onto the bolt at the bottom and clamp the pieces together. Take note that these bolts aren't super long. That's why I'm trying to remove these plastic nubs here. They stick down pretty far, and if they're going to stick down far, then the nut's not going to grab with many threads, and you're not going to get it attached very well. These are nylon locking nuts, and if you don't get the thread to the nylon, then the nylon's not going to do anything to lock the nut on there, and with all the vibrations that you deal with around here, those nuts might fall off. This is ABS plastic, so you can drill into it pretty easily, you can file it pretty easily. You never want to breathe in plastic fumes, so do it in a well-ventilated area, but this is ABS, so it's not the worst plastic fumes for you. But as I said, my official advice is not breathing in any plastic fumes. As I've mentioned, I've got the rubber boot here. I'm going to clean it up with some rubber cleaner. I'm going to clean up the inside too, since you never really get to do that. Now before you assemble this, take one of these bolts and make sure it slides in to all 8 holes. There we go. I got this far and I'm realizing that filing these nubs down is going to be really important. So now you know, and you don't have to do this next step where I take this all back apart and file this down some more. So the rubber wasn't too happy about being clamped in there because the beveled edge of the metal that we just bought goes near the rubber, so I had to cut the edges off of this. I tried cutting just away from the holes so that you'd still have that good sturdy bit of rubber holding it on, but I did end up having to cut around here too. That's better. Okay, now with this filed down, I'm going to assemble it again and put the bolts into it. I got the whole thing bolted up. After filing it down and cutting off the rubber so it fit in here better, even still, I could not get these washers on here. I don't know why they don't just include the bolts that are the right length. It would have really helped, but we made do with what we got, and we have a good finished product here. Alright, looks good. Instead of putting on that old shift knob that doesn't look great, we've got one more treat for this car. Alright, this is a non-threaded handle just like what we've got. These holes here have little studs that go into there, and you tighten it up onto there. You just clamp it in basically, and the top is going to have one of these. I'm going to see which one of these fits the shifter stick that we have. After checking it, this does go on, but it spreads out kind of weird. And if you try to put this on, it barely fits. I'm just gonna tighten these on as is without any of these adapters and see how it goes. I think it'll do the trick. This comes with a set of 3 short ones and 3 long ones. I'm using the short one. Make sure it's facing the right direction. Alright, got a pretty nice choice of rocks here too. This fits pretty nice in the hand. Alright, that ended up looking pretty good. I'll link to all the tools and parts that I used in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next Car Simplified video. That is bright.